She stood in the atrium of Restoration House. She looked up and she saw a roof over her head and she started crying. And because that roof represented safety and sleep. And for the first time, she felt like her life had the potential to change. And it was like so humbling for me when I heard her say that to me. Like I still get chills thinking about it. Making this all fit, like that was her dream home for the night.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing together is it looks totally different for all different people. But that night you helped provide a dream home that looked unconventional to you. It may not be you and I's dream home, but you helped provide a dream home for her. And that really, to me, represents this beautiful partnership that we have.
Welcome to the Justin Landis Show, your real estate podcast about having conversations, building relationships, and creating freedom. And today I am with the Director of Marketing from the Atlanta Mission, Rachel Reynolds. Rachel, thanks for being here today.
That sounds so official.
You like that? You are very official.
I am very official. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here today.
It's weird. I host the Atlanta Mission podcast, so it's weird not being in the host seat.
Well, now you're in the hot seat, and I get to ask the question.
But I love to spill all the tea, so.
Well, all right, let's start from the top then. We'll spill the tea. What does the Atlanta Mission do?
I know, not the kind of tea I want to spill today.
All right.
Yes, I can tell you.
Tell us about the Atlanta Mission.
Atlanta Mission is the oldest and largest provider of homeless services in Atlanta. We provide comprehensive, holistic services for men, women, and children experiencing homelessness. So we have about 800 men, women, and children who live with us every night. We provide everything from safe shelter, food, to counseling services, trauma therapy, and job training. So really trying to treat the whole person.
And multiple locations.
Lots of locations. So we have 3 campuses in downtown Atlanta, and then we have a 4th campus up in Jefferson, Georgia.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all the great work that you've done to help the city.
No, thank you.
How long have you been at the Atlanta Mission?
It's only 12 years.
Ooh, congratulations.
I know. I feel very old. I started here when I was 25. There you go. There you can know my age.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done a lot of life at Atlanta Mission, but it's such an amazing place. Like I wake up every day and I can't believe I get to actually work here.
That is awesome. All right. So in a couple years after you'd been there, the Justin Landis Group, we had this idea to do this 90 and 90 campaign where we were going to try to help 90 buyers buy houses in 90 days and raise $90,000 to fight homelessness. And we were looking for an organization to partner with. Do you remember kind of when we first came to the Atlanta Mission to figure out if it would be a good partnership to do that?
Yeah, I remember I think we met at Grant Park Market. Because we are Grant Park residents.
That's right. Neighbors.
And so we were neighbors. And so I was super excited. I had just moved into the neighborhood and I was super excited to kind of hear about this opportunity. I do remember we were not as sophisticated as we are now.
But still pretty sophisticated.
Yes, but with our corporate partnership. Yep. So 12 years ago, we were honestly babies kind of figuring out what does strategic corporate partnerships look like. And so I remember back to the early 90 and 90 days, it was one of the first times I remember like huddling up as a group being like, what do we do? How do we do this? Because you presented us with this idea. And I think we kind of birthed, I don't know if it was that first year, if it was years following, but kind of birthed this idea of everybody deserves a dream home, which was such an aha moment. I know for us, I think for you as well.
We changed our slogan at the Justin Landis Group to everyone deserves a dream home. It was a whole different trajectory of the business.
And I remember you and I talking about this. I kind of get chills thinking about it of like, you guys provide obviously beautiful, amazing homes to either first-time home buyers or second-time home buyers, and then but we were talking about this idea that everybody's dream home is different. So it may be a house in Grant Park. It may be their first apartment. For people who've spent the last night on the street, their dream home is looking up at Restoration House, at my sister's house, at any of our Atlanta Mission locations and saying, this is my dream home for right now.
Yeah.
And so it's just been such a really beautiful, I think, relationship that we've had because we're providing very different services to people, but we've seen the intersection, which is really, I think, the core of what we're trying to do at the mission is show that people are people and that we're much more different than we are alike, or we're much more alike than we are different.
Yeah, love that so much. What about on the fundraising side? We had raised $0 before that. Did you think we had any chance to actually raise the money?
We're always optimistic. It felt like, I'll be totally honest. It did seem like, I mean, on both sides, we didn't really know what we were doing.
Yeah.
I remember
we had no idea.
We had all these sorts of different forms and lists that we were trying to figure out who was giving what. I think what was really amazing about the concept, and you can obviously talk about this more, was that you weren't just trying to, I think a lot of corporate giving is very tax incentive driven. Also, it's good for a brand. Great things. We want your money. If you want a tax write-off,
PSA for the Atlanta mission right here.
Want a tax write-off? We're your people. So those are all really good things. But I think what you were trying to do it because I think it was agents and different
everybody,
yes.
Attorney,
you were trying
vendor,
to use this as an opportunity to multiply generosity.
Yes.
So it wasn't just you could have easily been like, I'm gonna write, a $90,000 check from the Justin Landis group, but it was like this idea that I really want to multiply this generosity. This isn't just Justin doing this. This isn't just Justin and Maris doing this. I want to, create a ripple effect of generosity. So I think that's what's so cool about this particular campaign, and an interesting way to look at generosity for companies is not just how are you, the founder, doing this, or how are you doing this from a corporate standpoint, but if I believe in living a generous life, how am I helping multiply this?
Yeah, it was really eye-opening as we had that idea. I wasn't sure what people were going to say, whether the other partners and the people we worked with would want to do it. I mean, we got...
what were their response?
100% yes. I mean, to the point that a couple people, they offered to give such generous donations on each transaction. I was like, are you sure? I don't think you're barely making that per transaction, And so the generosity was amazing. And then speaking of multiplying, you all had the idea after we were able to raise it was just over $90,000.
Yep.
You guys had the idea how we might be able to multiply it more, which has also changed the way that I think about giving. Tell what happened, what the Atlanta mission decided to do after the end of that campaign.
Yeah. So a little trade secret. Everyone loves a deal.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a buy one, get one free. In the nonprofit world, matches are huge.
Yep.
And so you'll see throughout the years, we use different matching opportunities. So whether it's through a corporation, whether it's through an individual, but it multiplies people's dollars. So you were creating this multiplication effect. And then in turn, we use this as a match for our donors to multiply their dollars.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a huge multiplier of generosity, which you don't get a lot.
Yep. Yeah, those couple of things I think were just really eye-opening. I recall, I think it was the year after, or maybe that year, it was one of the first times that we gave a match for Giving Tuesday, and you raised like a gazillion times more than the previous year. And those things, you're like, oh man, this is so much more than any one person could do, which I just thought was really cool. And I really appreciated how y'all have really pioneered that.
Well,
sure.
A lot of it was because I will say, like, with corporations, with you, with people that we engage with, if you're open-handed in your generosity, that's the most beneficial thing to an organization. So you were very open-handed. I want to do this. Yep. What do you want to do with it? A lot of corporations come to us and say, I want to do this. This is why I want to do this, or how I want it. They're very prescriptive. Yeah. And I think that's what you did so well. And I think we've done well together is we each know our spaces, and you have to trust the other person to know their space. So we knew that a match was going to probably help us multiply this effort instead of you saying we have to use it for this. And so I think that that's been really key in our relationship is you've been incredibly open-handed. You have done things like the race. We've done Giving Tuesday. Yep. You have done many matches, and you've never pigeonholed yourself into one specific route, which is really has been such a blessing to the organization.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, you kind of hit on this. What makes a good corporate partner? If we've got business owners that are listening to this and you're like, man, I really want to be a great partner to a local nonprofit, what makes someone a good partner?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is one thing that you said is you came to us with an idea. At nonprofits, we're, a pretty slim operation. And so it helps talking about multiplication again. It helps having people and corporations, individuals coming to us with ideas. So you coming to us with an idea kind of helped fuel what we were already doing. So I'd say just a willingness to say, this is what I want to do. But I also think the open-handedness. Let us do our jobs. Yeah. And we can do it together, but it really does help because I think that I know I would love to hear your perspective on this. I think we have been able to use your giving at certain times for certain things that have really fit with what you want.
For sure.
And what we need. And so I think not being so prescriptive about what you want. And then I think the third thing really is be open to using your platform for multiplication of generosity. So you've been able to use that with your agents and your network. I mean, I'm sure you were at a donor dinner last night. I'm sure it was all your friends around the table.
It was a fun table.
I even think about this. I think of you and Amaris. I don't know if you talked about Amaris on the podcast, his wife. I know that you guys live incredibly generous lives, but you don't keep it in. You make sure that you are bringing other people in with you. So I know, I mean, you've been involved with the mission 8-9 years, probably at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
I think we started in 2018, 2019 with 9090.
Yep.
But you've brought other people in with you. And that's a huge benefit for us because you're continuing to multiply that generosity.
What on the flip side, what are some things that companies might make a mistake in? They want to do good, but it actually is not as helpful as they think it might be, or even hurtful.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to that. I mean, we are a reputable brand in the organization, or a reputable brand in the city of Atlanta.
Sure.
And so I think just really pigeonholing yourself and saying, I want to use the brand to kind of elevate my brand. So if you're going in it with that, it will only go so far.
Yeah.
And so I think that being really flexible and open. And I think another thing is for an organization, get to know the people. Get to know why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I know for you, we both live in Grant Park still. I mean, homelessness is very visible to us. Grant Park's changed a lot, but still, it's very visible. And so it's something we see, we experience. And so I know for you, that was something that was important to you. How do I get involved in this thing? It doesn't have to be homelessness, but what are the things that are surrounding your company, your business, that are important to your people? Because it needs to go beyond the dollars. It needs to be the relationship.
I mean, that's a great segue. I was actually about to ask you. We talk a lot on the show about how action creates more action, and it's doing things and actually taking a practical step. If someone wants to take some action to try to get involved or find that partner or passion, what are ways that people can engage with the Atlanta Mission and nonprofits in general?
Well, what'd you do?
The very first thing I did was serve. I mean, that was the very first thing that I did was through our church. There was a service project, and I came and served, and I had a good experience. And that was the very initial step. And so I wonder if you just led me into the question: is seeing it firsthand, serving, is that a good?
Yeah, I think that's one thing, because I think it's a good question. Serving, Googling, following on Instagram, friends.
Yep.
What are your friends? I think for us, we're talking about, homelessness is very visible to us. So seeing it and then looking. So I think there are so many different avenues. It's a little bit, we talk a lot about, I kind of hate this phrase, but I'm going to say it anyway, time, talent, treasures. It's very churchy, very Christianese, but it's true. We, at different points in our life, we have certain amounts of time, talent, and treasure.
Yeah.
Right now, I have a toddler. We both work.
Not a lot of time.
Yeah, we both work full time. Yep. I don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
But, maybe our income level is higher, so I have more resources to give.
Yeah.
And so I think for you at the time, you had an opportunity to serve. So I think really think about, where are you at in your life, and where's the way? It's a muscle you have to flex, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
You were not a one and done. You weren't a, let's do this 90 and 90 one time, never going to talk to them again, or I'm going to write a check once a year and call it done. It's a muscle you're flexing. I mean, now you're super involved. You're on the board.
Yep.
You're super volunteer, donor, all of that. And so, but it was a muscle you had to flex from that one time you went to serve. So I think just kind of look at where you are in your life. It's changed for me. Yeah. I used to have a ton of time to volunteer. That's actually how I got involved in the mission. Started volunteering every Tuesday night. And so, but now that's not where my life stage is, but I know probably eventually it will go back to that.
Hey, this is Justin with a market update. The current market is unlike any market we have seen recently. And so if your brokerage is running a playbook that is old, that's from pre-COVID, you need to get a playbook that is up to date, that is adaptable to the current market. I'd love for you to book a mentor call so we can help walk you through a playbook that works in this market. Back to the podcast.
I'd love to know a little bit too about what did you look for when you're looking for a nonprofit partner?
Well, this is, I'll tell the story of finding a partner for 90 and 90, because we actually met with a good number of organizations. And first of all, did you know that? Y'all, you're about to hear this story for the first time. All right, this is great.
So it was like The Bachelor. But
I don't know if it was exactly like The Bachelor, but yeah, I mean, I guess we'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. So yeah, we met with a handful of nonprofits. We knew our space. I mean, it was helping the unhoused, right? And so, I mean, we knew our space. But we wanted to make sure that we had a partner that we felt like we had a good, values match with and a good relationship with. And that we could be like actually helpful. Because I won't say names, but there was one partner where they're basically like, we could do something with you in like 9 months and let us know this week.
You have to be ready to move.
Yeah, I'm like, well, obviously, we're not actually really making any difference, difference here. But we met with Jack in our first full meeting, and he actually used the terminology relationally, not transactionally, which is like a Justin Landis group, core belief phrase. I mean, to the point that I think Jared and Ashton and I were in that meeting and we left and we were like, do you think he called somebody at JLG to get the insider language on this? Because we're like, this sounded like we were running this meeting, I mean, it was like, we just said we had that great bond on the relational side, which we felt good about. And then we want to make sure that whatever organization was going to be a good steward of it. And that's both obviously use it to help people and make a difference. But also in this case, we didn't come up obviously with that initial idea, but there was conversation around hey, we might be able to multiply this gift, might be able to do more with it. And so those are a couple of things. I mean, we want to make sure that it's in the right space for us. So, I mean, we've, historically been in the space of helping the unhoused. We want to make sure that we have a good relationship because we just believe business is better done relationally instead of transactionally. And then we want the organization, to be able to be a good steward. And then the fourth thing is we want to be able to be involved and actually do stuff. And
you've gotten too involved.
Well, that's how I know. Then that's how we can start to do all sorts of stuff. We use you all the time. But it's been great for for any business owners listening, it's been great for the organization. So I'll take the 5K, for example. I've been a sponsor of the 5K for a lot of years. It's something awesome for our team to come, to be a part of, to run. I mean, Amy Spence, one of our partners, she won the Masters Division last year. We've had kids that have placed before. My daughter, Amy, got second in the little kids this year. Well, and so it's the whole family.
You placed a time or two.
In the older people divisions.
I know. It's okay. We're getting old. Yes. It's been too long. Yes. But I would love to kind of know too, was this... Okay, when you started Justin Landis Group, was generosity something you built into the company, or was it how did that come about?
All right, Rachel, I'm going to be pretty vulnerable here that I wanted it to be really a part of the organization, and I was honestly scared. My first handful of ideas around generosity, I'm a super idea person, so I'm always bouncing ideas off people saying stuff. The general feedback I got on it was kind of along the lines of, if you're going to give that money back, don't you think people are going to say, why don't you just reduce your commission and let me give the money away? And I was like, ooh, that's not what I was going for. I mean, I'm not trying to be able to be less generous. I want the pie to be bigger so I can be more generous. And so
why don't you just give it back to me?
Yeah, why don't you just give it back to me was the general. And I mean, not just one or two people. I got that a good amount. And so I was kind of scared to do it. And the first couple of things that I did were not that successful. We tried to do a handful of things. They weren't that successful. And I think that the thing that made 90 and 90 the tipping point was bringing a lot of other people in. The things that I was trying to do before, I was trying to do. They were for me, not necessarily for me, but I was doing it. I was in complete control, wasn't bringing other people along. And when we invited the team and our vendor partners to be a part of it, that's when it really started to boost. And that fear went away. I was kind of scared if I told all these people they wouldn't want to, but it was the exact opposite. I mean, I have found, at least in the real estate agent industry, people, and I think it's true of every industry, people really want to be generous. They want to help. And a lot of times, all they need is an easy way to do it because they're not for sure how to do it. They're not for sure if the organization they're helping is going to be a good steward. They don't have time to do a bunch of research and figure it out. But if you give them an opportunity, people will love to do it.
Well, you know what's so interesting? We're doing a big brand health body of work right now for Atlanta Mission, which is really cool. But one of the things that we're finding is that intent to engage and actually engaging is the biggest drop off for us. So people want to be generous, but they don't know how to. And so that really...
So we have to make it easy for them.
Well, and that struck it. You were just talking about that. And I was like, you created an environment that made it easy for someone to engage.
Yep.
And you created an environment for someone to, it was a no-brainer for them.
Yep.
And it was almost like it was a competition a little bit of like, we want participation and we have to reach this goal. And so I think that's, I don't know, it just kind of hit me because I'm like, that's something I'm constantly thinking about is how do we, as Atlanta Mission, how do we get people from the intent to actually engaging? And maybe this is a really big key is like corporate partners. Yeah. How can they help us do that?
Well, you guys have done a ton with corporate partners. I mean, as far as like the experience and the volunteering, I mean, maybe for someone listening, share a little bit about what you've done so that we can make it easy for somebody listening to this to get engaged.
Like I said, we were not this sophisticated 12 years ago. So we've transformed a lot. I think you've seen that transformation. But yes, now we actually have a dedicated corporate liaison who's on our team, and they specifically work to engage in the way that you want to engage. So it could be connecting volunteer opportunities, obviously corporate sponsorships, corporate giving, corporate matching. For a lot of companies do corporate matching. That's a big piece. Your company might not even know about that, but is that an opportunity for you? Because that's free money that's on the table. Yeah. Another way that we engage with corporations is we have corporate partnerships where they actually hire our people. Yeah, so there's a lot of different avenues. Yep. So depending on what industry you're in, you can plug into all of them or some of them. But just know you'll have a dedicated personal relationship with someone who will plug you in with that.
Yeah, that's so good.
We can put my email up or however we want to do that. Yep. But we love for people to reach out because I really do believe we're doing amazing work with corporations, and we do create a seamless experience for them.
Yeah. You're also doing amazing work transforming the lives of the clients you serve. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, as you think about the current face of homelessness, what would you say about what's going on in the city? And like, I know there's a lot of misconceptions people have, but kind of take us down that path a little bit.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I know that's like my phrase of the day. I'm like getting to be an old person where I'm like, back in my day.
It kind of changed a lot if you've only been doing something for 1 year.
It's so crazy. Yeah. I know, I'm like, I thought I'm still 25. No, it's changed a lot. So 12 years ago, we were working in homelessness. It was very transactional. So people would come in, get a meal, get a place to stay. They'd leave the next day. They'd come back. And we were in this cycle. Our CEO at the time saw that the face of homelessness was rapidly changing. Women and children homelessness was up 60%. You just didn't see it because if they were on the street that night, DFACS was going to take their kids. Yeah. So they were putting themselves in really unsafe situations. So anyways, long story short, kind of we've changed the way we do services. Now, no longer it's transactional. It's very relational. How do we help the whole person? But homelessness is continuing to evolve. Post-COVID, we are seeing so many more situationally homeless.
As opposed to
chronically.
Homeless.
Yes.
Yep.
And so a chronically homeless would be considered someone who's a year or more has been on the street. They may have mental health struggles, may have addiction struggles. Situationally homeless is anywhere from a day to, 6 months, maybe living in their car, maybe couch surfing. But we're seeing right now that we're having to even adjust our services even more because if you're situationally homeless, maybe you're able to get out of that much quicker than you are if you were chronically homeless because it could be you can't pay for childcare anymore.
Yep.
So it may not be as much deep-rooted trauma as someone who's been on the street for a year. So we're really trying to adjust the way we're doing services. So we're in a strategic plan right now, Vision 2030, and it's really looking at how do we help those who are situationally homeless? Because at the end of the day, the world, it's so much more expensive to live than ever, and we're all a few paychecks away from it.
Yeah, a lot of the clients who are situationally homeless, they have jobs.
Yeah, they do. They have jobs.
Yep, and it's just one bad thing happens, and
yeah. No, I was talking to a client last week, and got sick.
Yep.
Had like long COVID and was out of work and didn't have the time, lost his job. And so had a car, and so it's so much different than traditionally what we would have thought about. And as prices keep rising, as affordable housing is not available, as transportation is not as readily, like there's so many systemic things, it's going to continue to accelerate this situationally homeless.
How could someone who's listening, either a business or individual, like step in and help to kind of fill some of the gaps that you have right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, particularly for the mission, the biggest thing is really financial support right now. Yeah. As we kind of look at these big goals that we have for what, the future of serving people who are homeless looks like, we're going to have to adjust a lot of things. So we're going to have to change the way we do services, maybe change the way our facilities look. And so financial is really a huge piece for us right now, but also volunteering. We are constantly trying to find ways of how can we relieve some of the stress from staff. How do we call it, giving capacity to the organization. Yeah. And so volunteering is a huge piece. You're not going to just come and pass out napkins. Like, we really want to use you in your best skill set.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Rachel, as you kind of look back now, kind of full circle back to 90 and 90, what does it represent for you as you think about it, at this point?
Yeah. Well, I think when I think about it, I was thinking about this today as I was prepping. And
thanks for prepping. I appreciate that.
Prepping's loose. As I was thinking about it on my drive over. No, I was thinking about a client who stayed outside she was on the street for many months and couldn't have a good night's sleep. Obviously, it's very scary. I can't imagine staying outside. No. She came into Restoration House after several tries. So had multiple tries we didn't have any beds. Came into Restoration House and she said she stood in the atrium of Restoration House. She looked up and she saw a roof over her head and she started crying. And because that roof represented safety and sleep. And for the first time, she felt like her life had the potential to change. And it was so humbling for me when I heard her say that to me. I still get chills thinking about it. Making this all fit, that was her dream home for the night. Yeah. And that's what we're doing together. Is it looks totally different for all different people. But that night, you helped provide a dream home that looked unconventional to you. It may not be you and I's dream home, but you helped provide a dream home for her. And that really, to me, represents this beautiful partnership that we have.
Rachel, thanks for telling that story. Thanks for being here today and for all the lives that y'all have changed and transformed over the years of the Atlanta Mission. It's been awesome to partner with you, and I really appreciate you.
Maybe we'll be here 12 years from now.
We'll do it. We'll put it on the calendar.
Put it on the calendar. Thanks.
Thanks so much for being here this week. If you want to get involved in the Atlanta Mission, which you should, go to atlantamission.org/corporate. atlantamission.org/corporate. Fill out the form. They would love to connect with you, and you can start to make an impact in this city alongside them. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next week.